I'm Amy from the Unmistakably You Wedding Academy, and I'm here with Dave from DJ Alpha. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about DJ Alpha?
Sure, I'd love to. DJ Alpha Productions is a DJ and photo booth business. We have 30 people on our team. We DJ all sorts of events from schools to nightclubs, stag and does, parties, concerts, festivals, and most importantly, weddings.
Of course, most importantly.
Obviously.
Absolutely. So let's imagine that you are meeting with a couple who are looking for a DJ. It's your first meeting with them. What are the most important things they should be asking you?
Oh gosh, where to start? I guess from their perspective is thinking about what are their priorities for the wedding. So we found that the couples that typically book with us is they've put music or DJing in their top 3 priorities. Certainly we're happy to DJ anybody no matter what level of priority they have. However, I found that that seems to be the most typical client for us. So I think some of the things that they should think about are what are the styles of the DJs? Are there certain DJs that are stronger at certain styles than other styles? What is the personality like? Did they get to meet them ahead of time? Do they get to listen to any of their mixes online ahead of time? So they can get a pretty clear idea when they show up to their own wedding what they can expect from music.
Absolutely, and that's something that's important to note is that if a couple's talking to you, they're not necessarily booking with you. So you have a number of DJs that you typically tend to match with couples based on personality or music choice. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
For sure, yeah. So it's kind of an even split. We probably have half our customers who come to us and say, hey, here's a little bit about us. Please choose the right DJ from your team for us. And they trust that we will, and that goes off really well. And then 50% who say, you know what, we went through your website, or we met this DJ, or we were at an event that this DJ was at, and we would like this DJ. So there's no right or wrong, but we're always very clear whether I'm the DJ or somebody else on the team is the DJ, so that there's no surprises on wedding day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Surprises, bad.
The worst.
For sure. So what would you advise couples to do if they're looking to make sure that their wedding music goes flawlessly? How can they communicate with you? How can they lay the groundwork to make sure that on the day of, things are flawless?
I think you nailed it. Communication is key. We have a lot of clients who say, listen, we saw you at XYZ event and we like what you guys do, and so just do that. Which on paper makes sense, but when you really get into the nuts and bolts of it is, there's a great chance that whatever event you saw us at was structured in a certain way, and unless your event and your preferences and your tastes are identical to that event, it's not going to be executed the same way. So we really do love the communication to say, like, all right, what are your interests? What are your dislikes? What about your friends, family, other guests who are coming? We don't want to just assume that because you mentioned you like 3 artists that we should spend a lot of the night playing mostly songs from those 3 artists. So the more information we know, the better. I think the best example I can give about that is, especially if you're dealing with guests who aren't necessarily going to be there all night, like for instance, grandma and grandpa, or the younger kids, if you had a special dedication for them, to let us know, like, all right, there's a great chance grandma's going to be out the door by 9:30, so please make sure those songs come on before 9:30. So we don't, at 11:15, think it's the perfect time to play this song, and people are confused. They don't know who this dedication is even for.
You're not going to play the Crystal Chandelier.
Right, yeah. Right, when people are, like, ready to go.
Yeah. And that's actually a great point, what you said about not repeating what this couple saw at their friend's wedding.
Yeah.
I'm always telling couples that the leading reason to hire a great DJ is because you're reading the floor and you're playing to the people who are there, and you're immediately transitioning out of a song if it's not what the dance floor wants.
You're absolutely right about that. And I think there's a bit of a misconception too that when we show up to a wedding, we're like, all right, here we go, wedding number 30, put on the wedding playlist and go. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I bet if you looked at any of our playlists from event to event, maybe 25-30% of that is the same. But a lot of times it's making decisions in the moment, whereas, even if you played some of the same songs that you play, which obviously will happen for popular songs, sometimes that song might be perfect at 9:30, sometimes it might be perfect at 11, and you're absolutely right. To be able to read the room and make that decision, that's kind of the secret sauce of the whole thing.
For sure. I know I've done weddings with DJs who just kind of press play, and then they sit back, and I'm like...
Right, whatever happens.
Nobody's on the dance floor, or do you even care? And clearly
does this
they
matter?
don't. Yeah. So what would you say is the coolest thing you've ever seen, or the most interesting thing people have done with music, or the most personal thing?
Yep, absolutely. I spend a lot of time kind of thinking about, what is it that makes these events so unique. And I think one of the coolest things that I saw was an old friend of mine got engaged and asked if I would be her DJ. And she had moved to Toronto years before, and every weekend her and her fiance went out to a 60s party with all their friends. And when she brought that idea to me, she said, listen, me and my friends all love 60s music. What if we played 60s music at the wedding? I said, well, that's no problem at all. 60s music is usually a big hit. So how much of this do you want? She said, I want the whole night, 60s music. And we kind of dug in a little more. We found out that there's a group of about 15 or so of them that did this every week. So I knew from the beginning, we're going to have a good group of people who are younger, who might otherwise not be super into 60s music, who already love it. Then when we did the math on it, the aunts, uncles, and parents all grew up in the 60s.
Of course.
So this was a surefire hit. And of course, when we started that night, I was over there looking like a hero for playing all these songs from the 60s. But if we hadn't have had that conversation ahead of time and really gone over the details of, who will this hit with, it could have been a total disaster. But it was a great experience. It went really well. I think we probably ended up playing 90% of the night was music from the 60s. And it was great because it was uniquely their choice.
Yeah,
That's
that
what I
sounds
loved
amazing.
about it. It was a great night.
I want to go to that wedding.
Well, it was funny when I was doing my homework for it. I'm like, I didn't realize how many great songs came out of that decade.
Yeah, that's amazing. Love it. Okay, so where can people find you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Easiest place to find us is on our website, djalpha.ca. You can also find us on Instagram, DJ Alpha Productions, Facebook, DJ Alpha Productions. And then if you head over to our website, you can also listen to any of our mixes, check out any of our DJs, and really get an idea of what we're about.
You just put out a country mix yesterday, didn't you?
I did,
I saw that.
with no shame at all. I fell in love with
it.
country music a few years ago, and I will not look back.
I'm a country girl from way back,
Yes.
so I love that.
I love it.
All right, thanks so much, Dave.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
No worries.